Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 on the HughDoesStuff podcast. Now, now, you're probably wondering why the previous episode ended so abruptly. Well, it's because I actually originally recorded about an hour of content, hoping to edit it all. However, I did not actually realize how much effort I had to put in to editing that much content. So, unfortunately, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to make 8-minute episodes and edit them and then upload them when I finish editing them. So, this is episode 2. In this episode, we're going to be basically discussing the Jodie Whittaker run and recapping each episode by episode. Also, I was just watching the most previous episode that I had already uploaded when I realized, oh my god, I made grammar mistakes. I misspelled dinosaurs. When I spoke about Chibnall's thing, that was wrong. And also, I spelt the word Chibnall wrong. And also, the little, bits with the text were way too fast, and I apologize for that. I don't think I'm going to re-upload it. Apologies for that, and I'm going to make sure that sort of stuff doesn't happen again. I've just finished the second episode, and I'm looking over it now, and I'm hoping I didn't make that same mistake. And then, in this second episode, I'm only doing the first season of Jodie Whittaker's run, and the special at the end, because I think that anything longer than 8 minutes is too long, because people get disengaged. So, if I didn't, it would be a 16-minute episode, and I just think that's just way too long. So now episode 4 will in fact be the Timeless Child breakdown. Tomorrow morning I'm getting up at 7 a.m. because the special is getting uploaded to ABC iView. I'm very much looking forward to that. But once again, really sorry about the grammar mistakes and the fast text. Anyway, enjoy. The first episode was released, and people thought, oh god, oh no. Oh, no. Well, actually, the first episode of Jodie Whittaker was really good. I liked it. Sorry, that's a lie. The first time I watched it, I thought, oh, I don't know how I feel about this. I felt that way with Capaldi, and I ended up loving him. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to give her time, and I'm sure that she'll become, hopefully, my favorite. She didn't, but she's definitely in my top 5. I think she's in my top 5. Yeah. So Jodie Whittaker became the Doctor. The first episode was okay. The second episode was it was complete trash.
This is my TARDIS.
And it introduced this story arc called The Timeless Child, which we will, in the intro I mentioned it, and we will touch on it later because it is a pretty big thing, and I know for a fact that Chibnall was not planning it when it happened, but...
Look, I'm not gonna...
Do it!
I'm Stan, and I was wrong. I'm singing the Stan wrong song.
Basically, the term Timeless Child was mentioned, and everyone's like, oh my god, Timeless Child, what the hell's the Timeless Child? So yeah, anyway, let's just move on. The third episode had Rosa Parks. It was actually really good, for the most part, until there was a character, until they were like, oh shit, this is a science fiction show, and they had to put this alien from outer space in it, and it's like, you're ruining this incredible story and putting aliens in it, like, Jesus Christ, can't we just have, just a time travel episode, as that was literally what the first episode of Doctor Who was about. There were no aliens in the first episode, in The Unearthly Child, which, of course, it wasn't the best episode, but what they did was they went back to the Stone Age, and it was just, couldn't we please just have the monsters being the human beings for once? Jesus, why do we have to have all this? Also, that is a thing that is touched on in a later episode. Episode 4 was Arachnids in the UK, which... Okay, so you're gonna see a recurring theme. Doctor Who sort of has been criticised for becoming way too politically correct. I don't agree with that. I think it's always had political undertones or overtones. I don't know which one. For example, the second story, the Daleks were based off Nazis. So, I mean, you tell me whether that's political or not. And then there was the Green Death in, the 1970s. Oh, was it 1970 or was it 1969? I think it was 1974. Or was it? So, by the way, everything prior to the revival is season, everything after is series. So, series 1 is Christopher Eccleston, season 1 is William Hartnell. Anyway, so where was I? Right, Arachnids in the UK and the political correctness. So, of course, the Rosa episode was important. I loved it. I thought it was actually really, really good, apart from the alien botchness. Then we got Arachnids in the UK, which had these giant spiders that were not in any way related to the giant spiders in John Pertwee's John Pertwee's episode, which I thought was a massive missed opportunity, and so did many people. Anyway, so that was due to pollution, which I thought was like, oh, okay, well, I didn't think of that as a political correctness thing until it was pointed out to me, so I guess that's fine. And then if we move on to, and of course there was like a Donald Trump character. There's this running joke in the episode where the doctor kept calling him Ed Sheeran because she had like literally no idea who the hell he was, who Ed Sheeran was. And what's funny is that I could imagine in my mind Capaldi saying that line. It's like, is he Ed Sheeran? Oh, you're all on about Ed Sheeran these days. I could imagine him saying that. So I think that was a line that was perfect for that sort of transition between Capaldi and Whittaker. Overall, I didn't really mind that episode. It had giant spiders, and giant spiders are awesome. Then we had the Pating, which was it was wacky, to say the least. We had a pregnant man. Yes, you heard me. A pregnant man. And this little tiny thing that looks like Baby Yoda on a budget, eating through the giant, Grogu on a budget, eating through the spaceship. And it was kind of like, oh, you know what, this is kind of crazy. I can get behind this. Episode 6 was Demons of the Punjab, which was similar to Rosa. And finally, in this episode, the monsters were the humans. However, it did have aliens from outer space, but the aliens were kind of set up to be these villains. And then it was like, oh, yeah, no, we're going to do a 360 here. And the aliens are actually the good guys. In fact, they're not even good or bad. They're just here doing their job. They're just doing stuff. Like, they're just like neutral. And it turned out the monster was the human beings. And I really, really liked that about that episode. I think that was incredible writing. That was the best episode of that season. Season 7 was Kablam, which was basically if Amazon was evil. And I loved that episode. I always will. Episode 8. Now, what's interesting is that the second half of Series 11 is the better half, without a doubt. Episode 8 was The Witch Hunters. Not my favorite. I found it a bit weird, but the writing was good, and the story overall was really good, and it had a good few twists. And there was this actor playing, I think it was like King James or something, and he did this incredible job. And then after that, we had It Finds You or something, and that was just weird as hell. It was confusing, honestly. There was a literal frog. Okay, so basically, they go into this, like, sort of limbo area in between universes or something. I don't even remember. It was that crazy. And Graham, who is one of the companions, finds his dead wife there. His dead wife who died in the first episode due to the stanza called Tim Shaw, and that's a running joke, because Tim Shaw's an infomercialist in Australia. And, yeah, his wife was killed by him, I think, something like that, and she showed up, and Graham was like, I want to stay in this universe because she's here. Anyway, so at the end, she turns into a frog, tells the doctor to leave, and that's the end of the story, as far as I'm aware. I don't exactly remember it exactly. It's been a while since I've seen the episode, but that was pretty much it. And then in the final episode, it was called The Battle of Ran's Core Avkolos or something. Probably almost got it. And I thought it should have been a two-parter. It should have been sort of a lot more finale-ish. It felt like a filler episode. The only thing that really connected it to the rest of the series was the fact that Tim Shaw came back as the main villain. And I don't know, I think that there should have been more overarching story in Season 11. But, you know, that was Series 11. Then we had the Christmas special, which had the return of the Daleks for the first time in about 2 years. That made me so happy. I remember I was at home and I just screamed in joy that the Daleks were back. Anyway, long story short, it sort of builds itself from a bunch of scrap and turns it into this recon Dalek scout. And it's actually, people say it looks shitty. I think it looks badass. And the reason I sort of mentioned the fact that it built itself like that is because it's important for what's coming up soon. Anyway, so then we had a year off, and then Series 12 came along on the 1st of January of last year. I had just gotten back from New South Wales